My weight has always fluctuated. I done said that before. I got a video pinned at the top of my page talking about how my weight go up and down. Never been something I ever shied away from because it's my truth, right? And in it being part of my truth, I've never made excuses for when I gain weight. I never tried to blame it on racism. I never tried to blame it on health conditions. Never tried to blame it on carrying the world on my back. I never tried to blame it on anything besides the fact that I like to eat and I was eating bad things and I wasn't working out. Or sometimes I was working out, but I was still eating bad stuff. Therefore, it offset me working out. Working out wasn't doing nothing because I was still eating bad, right? And if you ain't in no calorie deficit, you're not going to see the results. But I never tried to make excuses for my weight gain. I understood exactly why I gained weight. I owned it and I did what I needed to do to get it off the natural way. Because I gained it on my own, it was always said to myself, I'm going to lose it on my own. As long as God give me the ability physically to get in that gym, I'm going to get in that gym. The same way I could drive to a fast food place to get some food is the same way I can drive to that gym. The same way I can pick that bad food up and eat it is the same way I can push it away and eat something healthy. It's that simple. A lot of y'all want to be coddled. You want people to say stuff to you a nice way. When I was younger, my mama coddled me. She would always tell me, Dana, it doesn't matter. You're beautiful. If people don't accept you, she would sell me dreams and lies. But my daddy would tell me the truth. He would tell me, you probably do want to keep your weight under control. You don't want to build a mountain so high that one day you don't want to climb it. And you know who I listened to? I listened to my mama because what she said sounded better. It sounded like rainbows and butterflies, and she sold me all these dreams of how the world should be, but it's not how the world was. My daddy was telling me about how the world was, and she was telling me how the world should be, right? But it wasn't until I got older that I realized that I should have been listening to my daddy the whole time because he was the one telling the truth. It didn't matter how his delivery was. It didn't matter that he was saying the stuff I didn't want to hear. He was telling me the truth. A lot of y'all, you're not ready to receive the information, and I get that, because when it comes to weight, until you ready to make that change, until you get tired of your own stuff, until you get tired of all of the inconveniences that extra weight bring you, you're not going to make no changes. And so it doesn't matter who get online and say what, until you're tired of it, until you're tired of putting on waist trainers, until you tired of having to wear clothes when you having sex with men because you scared to show your body, until you get tired of having to always consider everything before you do it because you can't do the normal things that average people do. Scared to get on a plane, scared to go to amusement parks, scared to get on certain things because you know you too big. Until you get tired of going to stores and them not having your size. Until you get tired of putting on clothes and it not looking the way you want it to look. Until you get tired of strolling social media and seeing people with bodies that you wish you had but you just don't want to make the changes. Until you get tired, you're always going to feel like somebody attacking you. You always going to be feel some kind of way when these conversations are being had. And I understand that, but it still don't change that the conversation need to be had. And at some point it will click. And when you do finally decide to make the change, you'll look back and you'll thank God that you did. You'll be so happy that you ended up changing for the better. So right now, you may not want to hear it. It may sound bad. You may not like the tone. You may not like the delivery. You still need to hear it.
Regarding the conversation about going into most rooms and most cookouts, and most of the black women there are out of shape. It's crazy to me how in the comment section, a lot of these black women are like, well, black women need grace. You guys are being rude. You guys are being mean. This goes hand in hand with you not really ever being able to correct a black woman, because it's either going to be how you said it or what you said, or you could have said it nicer, when really the issue is you said something in the first place. Everybody loves correction and criticism unless it looks like something that they're doing that needs to be corrected. Now, oh, you could have been nicer. You don't have to be so mean. Black women deserve grace. Well, what kind of grace are y'all looking for? Because to me, it's starting to look like just be quiet about it and don't bring it up. But it's an issue. And I say that as somebody who lost 25 pounds.
I've been a personal trainer for a decade, right? This is exactly why most people are out of shape, all right? It's not very complicated either. This is why the obesity rate is going up right now, all right? Listen, It is the lack of accountability. It's not the seed oils. It's not your fucking genetics. It's not any hormonal issues. Literally, I know people hate to hear this, but it's literally the reality. You have to take accountability and realize, yes, you're eating too fucking much, and yes, you're not moving enough. All right,
Hey, my loves, welcome back to my channel. So you guys really ate up my last video when I was reacting to overweight women's excuses as to why they were overweight. Okay, go check that one out. As you can see in the thumbnail, they were over there blaming white supremacy. They were saying that black women, they have the world on their back. They're just too busy. Girl, the excuses and the mental gymnastics were insane in that video. So y'all love that video. They really represent how the average big person thinks. And this is why people are big, literally. So I like these videos because it's basically what I've been talking about all over my channel, but just examples. I've always said that most people are big due to ignorance. And a lot of these videos were pure ignorance. So I'm back again. I am super excited to do the same exact thing. And let me give you the backstory, okay? If you're wondering how this discussion got started, literally a random person on TikTok basically just came to TikTok and said, hey, I noticed that a lot of black women tend to be out of shape. So black women and their weight became a discussion on, just amongst black TikTok, which makes sense. People were saying, oh, well, everybody's out of shape. Yeah, but black women are the most. And I think it's fair if you're black, you're in mainly black spaces like me. So I can't really critique and comment on other racial groups because I'm not in their business. That's why my channel, it's heavily about what black people are doing because I'm black. And so, yeah, it just makes sense, right? And I don't see the problem with that. But okay, let's play some more excuses that these bigger women have as to why they're big, okay? You know the theme by now. They will blame anything. Honey, they will come up with backflips, cartwheels, splits, handstands, all types of mental gymnastics, rather than just saying, I am big because I like the taste of food and I like it in large quantities. Okay? Nope. So let's see what other excuses that these large women have as to why they are big. Okay? Let's see the excuses. Honestly, this is really fun. This is like a game to me at this point. It's like, ooh, what are they going to come up with in this video? Okay, so let's take a look.
Okay, you guys, so it has been brought to my attention all up on my timeline. Black women are being called out for their weight. I swear we become a topic of conversation at least once or twice a day. Something is we're always being dragged into the forefront. Like, we did not sign up to be the strongest soldier. But anyways, here's my 2 cents on why the population of black women are quote unquote overweight, right? For one, everybody's weight, just because you see a thin person does not mean that they are healthy. I don't know where people correspond that with whatever. One, people have different body indexes and different, let's hear it for genetics. And so a lot of times genetically things can be passed down through generations, right? If we take it all the way back to slavery times, women that were in the field and everything like that, were always stockier. Black women have always been different as far as our muscle mass. A lot of times the average black woman holds a lot of her weight in her hips. So do the Boricuas, so do Latino women. We just carry it differently. However, to be specific, in this day and age, I firmly believe that a lot of the weight gain has a lot to do with stress. We are not supposed to be using this amount of our mind and our hearts in society than we do. In order for a black woman to show up the way that she needs to show up in society, whether that's as a mom figure, as an employee or a boss, as a wife, as a friend, whatever the case may be, anyone for that matter, you need food for fuel. Now, mind you, Is there such thing as overindulging? Absolutely. But do I feel like the person that you see walking down the street, if she's super thick, do I feel like she's the unhealthiest? No. You see Samoans, their body index is completely different. So what I'm gonna need y'all to do is leave black women up out of the conversation in general. If you want us to be healthy, how about y'all set up a system that's healthier for us? How about instead of us fighting for our lives in comments or fighting to be picked by the same men that we give birth to, how about we give that a more comfortable slate to be approachable with? But nonetheless, at the end of the day, black women, you are perfect the way that you are. If you feel like you are overindulging, speak to somebody, use ChatGPT, find resources, find groups to work out in, but don't let nobody on this app dictate how you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to look like. Only you can define what you are ready for and what you're able to, and do not beat yourself up over these freaking videos that you see. And regardless, let's also clock this real quick. Regardless of how we are shaped, we will forever be over sexualized, especially the thick ones. So it was a point where people didn't want to get thick anymore because it brought too much attention. The way that I am shaped, I had one video that went viral based off of just my shape alone. I would be considered overweight, right? Which is completely fine. But one, I know how to get back to my normal BMI, even though we don't even dictate, weight by BMI anymore. But circumstantial, you have hormonal situations, you have health risk, you have different things that genuinely show up differently in people's bodies, including stress. So, and let's not forget that this year hasn't been stressful as fuck enough. So unless y'all are suggesting black women, y'all look good, let's get y'all outside, let's do this, let's do that. Also, if it was a safer fucking environment, I can't express that enough. If it was safer for us to be out here, we would be out here in the woods like everybody else, hiking and running. But no, we be the main targets on everybody's mind, clearly. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. Bye.
Okay, so first, I've seen a lot of women on TikTok, bigger women, when they say that black women are overweight, they really don't like facts. Okay, yes, overweight. Why are you doing your hand in that gesture?
Here's my 2 cents on why the population of black women are quote unquote overweight.
Like that gesture that she just did, and I'll like kind of play it back.
Quote unquote overweight. Quote unquote overweight.
What do you mean? Like, yes, okay, go on to talk about why black women are overweight. Yes, why are you overweight? What do you think that you are? And it kind of reminds me of like just the new way that people talk. They don't want to just say fat or big or obese. They like to say, oh, I exist in a larger body. You know what I mean? Like, so I already know what she's about to say because she did her fingers in that gesture. Okay, like what do you mean? You are huge. But go on.
For one, everybody's weight, just because you see a thin person does not mean that they are healthy. I don't know where people correspond that with whatever.
So she said, just because you see a thin person doesn't mean that they're healthy. One thing that I noticed about big people is they constantly compare themselves to thin people, and you just need to stop comparing yourself. It's not the same thing, okay? Being fat and being thin is not the same thing. When you are fat, that's guaranteed that you are unhealthy. Just you existing as a fat person is automatically unhealthy. A skinny person existing as a skinny person is not automatically unhealthy. That depends on the individual person, okay? So that's not the same thing. Stop using skinny people to get out of accountability. They always do this. They always do this. It's not the same thing. Your experience is completely different from a skinny person's experience. Your dating life is not the same, and your health is not the same. You have fat crushing your entire body. The skinny person does not. Next.
One, people have different body indexes and different, let's hear it for genetics. And so a lot of times genetically things can be passed down through generations, right? If we take it all the way back to slavery times, women that were in the field and everything like that, were always stockier. Black women have always been different as far as our muscle mass. A lot of times the average black woman holds a lot of her weight in her hips. So do the Boricuas, so do Latino women. We just carry it differently.
She pulls out the typical ignorant black person line, oh, we're big boned. It's the bones, it's the muscles. Y'all will be 300 pounds of fat. Okay, 300 pounds of fat and still be like, oh, it's my bone density. It's the way my bones are. My bones are stocky. It's my muscles. No, it's the fat on your body. Like, it's so hard for them to just accept that you are fat. It's the literal adipose tissue that we're talking about. We're not talking about the muscles. We're not talking, no, there's no such thing as bones being so big that it'll make somebody look fat. That's not a concept. Can our bones be genetically slightly different? Yes, but it's so slight, it's so minimal. It's not going to, that's not the reason why someone is big. It's not because of their bones. This picture is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Big bone is a code. It's not a real scientific concept. If everybody were to be in a room and not eat, everyone in that room would be skinny. So all of your excuses, save it. It really comes down to the fork. Nobody has fat bones. No, that's the fat around your body. Okay?
If we take it all the way back to slavery times, women that were in the field and everything like that, were always stockier. Black women have always been different as far as our muscle mass.
And then please stop blaming it on muscles. What muscles? You guys have no muscles. You don't eat healthy. You don't work out because you don't want to sweat out your hair, your lace front, and your hairstyles. So what? You don't have muscles. You're not ripped. The people where they might weigh more due to muscles, those are like super ripped bodybuilder type of men. Yeah, their weight might be in the twos, even though they're not fat, because you can visually see that explanation. But with you guys do not look visually ripped. You know what I mean? Like, if you have all these muscles that you're talking about, that's going to show on your body. Absolutely. Okay? We're not talking about the muscles. Focus on the adipose tissue on the body. Adipose tissue, if you're an anatomy student, you know what that means. The fat. That's what we're talking about. What's your explanation for that? Stop deflecting. We know the difference between a fat person and a person that weighs more due to muscle. Do you know how ripped you have to be for that? Like, come on, these are ignorant excuses.
However, to be specific, in this day and age, I firmly believe that a lot of the weight gain has a lot to do with stress. We are not supposed to be using this amount of our mind and our hearts in society than we do. In order for a black woman to show up the way that she needs to show up in society, whether that's as a mom figure, as an employee or a boss, as a wife, as a friend, whatever the case may be, anyone for that matter, you need food for fuel. Circumstantial, you have hormonal situations, you have health risk, you have different things that genuinely show up differently in people's bodies, including stress. So, and let's not forget that this year hasn't been stressful as fuck enough. So unless y'all are suggesting black women, y'all look good, let's get y'all outside, let's do this, let's do that. Also, if it was a safer fucking environment, I can't express that enough. If it was safer for us to be out here, we would be out here in the woods like everybody else, hiking and running. But no, we be the main targets on everybody's mind, clearly. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Okay, so I think with a lot of these women, I forgot they tend to copy each other a lot and they're very impressionable. So she's copying the last 15,000 other women's excuse. Oh, it's because of stress. I'm a mom, the weight of the world. Oh, and black women act like, because this conversation is specifically about black women and they act like they're the only ones going through that. Um, let's look at the Asian community, for example. I feel like it's very popular for Asians to get pushed to become doctors and lawyers. That is a very high stress career field, and they still manage to be slim. Okay, black women are not doing anything different or special that any other racial group is doing. Okay, so you know how you say you're a mom? Guess what? The other racial groups, they're moms too. Like, it's the same amount of stress. In fact, I'm going to actually piggyback off of what we were talking about in the comment section. You guys actually have it good today. We are not oppressed like how the previous generations were oppressed, right? So back then, that was actual stress. These excuses would apply way back then when times were segregated. And, they actually had to tackle the stressors of the world and fight against, tackle the world and white supremacy and all this stuff, okay? I think that black people are still recycling this excuse. Like, yeah, this excuse applied back then, but it does not, these talking points are outdated. And even then, when black people had more stressors and more of the weight of the world, they still were more slim. Black women being big, this is a recent epidemic. There's people that even point out that even in as early as the 90s, everyone was relatively slim in the 90s and so on and so forth. Even when black people were fighting against segregation, they were all still relatively slim. That was extremely stressful. They were literally at war and still was slim. Like, it's just excuses.
So unless y'all are suggesting black women, y'all look good, let's get y'all outside, let's do this, let's do that. Also, if it was a safer fucking environment, I can't express that enough. If it was safer for us to be out here, we would be out here in the woods like everybody else, hiking and running. But no, we be the main targets on everybody's mind, clearly. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. Bye.
So in her caption, she put, if you want us to be healthier, set up a system where it's safe for us to do so. The excuses and mental gymnastics as to why they're big is crazy. So like I said, this is just a recycled video, right? It's blame external factors. Oh, give us transportation to the grocery store. Set up a system where we can succeed with our weight. Honey, even if people were to do that, right, were to give you an upper hand, an upper advantage on all the other racial groups that can maintain their weight better than you can, it still would be another excuse because that's how victim complexes work. Okay. Oh, honey, I know victim complexes. Nothing is ever good enough. Even when there is solutions, you still find problems in all solutions. Okay. I mean, I can honestly say we're living in a time where, everyone is truly blessed to be living in 2025. We're more free. We have more advantages. There's so many, the government pays you for this and school and food stamps. You know what I mean? We actually do get a lot of help in America. And you see how it's still not even good enough? You see what I mean? Because with victim complexes, this literally needs to be diagnosed as a mental illness, in my opinion, because they will forever find a problem in every solution. That's literally how it works. So nothing will ever be good enough because the problem is them. It's them and their lack of accountability. That's the real issue. Get your big lazy self up. Stop eating so much. Lazy, entitled, and just trifling. Literally, because it's like, bro, just eat less. Stop asking society to provide you with this and build systems and build schools and all this extra nonsense. Literally, just stop being a greedy pig. Literally, just stop being a greedy pig. That's it. Stop blaming the system. Okay? It's so easy. Just put the fork in your mouth less and you won't be fat. That's it. I'm not gonna lie to you, like all jokes aside, this one, like the amount of excuses that this woman has is actually truly sad. I actually feel bad for her. Like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to really find the correlation right now. What does what you're talking about have to do with how many times you put the fork in your mouth and go for a walk? What are you guys saying? And this is why, as a person that talks about weight loss, I always say the average person is extremely ignorant. What are you talking about? I mean, this is literally, she has a textbook victim complex at its finest. And I talked about this on my community tab. If you literally pull up, look at the signs of a victim mentality by a therapist on Google, everything that they list is traits that Black women on average heavily have. That's why it makes me kind of sad. It's kind of sad. Like, I'll read some of the things that it has. It says self-pity, blaming others for your problems, resisting solutions, negative outlook, lack of personal responsibility, helplessness, seeking external validation, resisting growth and stepping out of comfort zone, entitled to special treatment. Right? When she was like, well, what is the system doing? The system needs to do this for me to put the fork down. That's entitlement. Overgeneralizing, avoiding responsibility, dependent on others for support and to rescue. So instead of putting the fork down, you want the government to rescue you, which I'm not really getting the correlation. I'm trying to understand the mental gymnastics, but man, nobody comes up with more excuses than a big woman trying to justify why she's big. Okay? Big, yes, big. You're not thick. The lady tried to say she was thick. I went to your profile. You are big. Like, in society, right? When we step out of the Black community, you are considered big. People would look at you like you were fat. And that's how people look at most Black women. Maybe in your community, maybe in your hood, the Pookies think that you're thick. But most of the time, they be lying to you guys, okay? They be lying to you guys, but whatever. But that 80% statistic of Black women being overweight, a lot of you guys, when you step that body out into the real world, the rest of the world sees you as fat. Maybe that's why you feel like the world is out to get you. And that leads me into my next point, off of this victim mentality list that a therapist created. They said, feeling like the world is out to get you, that's a sign of a victim mentality. Every last Black woman that was justifying why she was big blamed it on the weight of the world. Okay, you guys have a textbook therapist approved victim mentality. It's so sad. It's so sad. And then, yeah, it says finding something wrong with every situation. So yeah, just go check that out. And then it also says belief that others are intentionally trying to hurt you. They originally had this conversation in good faith. They were giving the fat women a warning, and the big women took it as a sign of war, a sign of them trying to hurt them. That's called a victim complex. No, Black women's delusion, though, like, they don't have a concept of real beauty standards and what like is actual beauty and what actually looks good, due to like their weight. Like, they'll call themselves thick, and it's like, no, you are actually huge in society's eyes. It actually really makes me mad. It reminds me of when I moved to the Black community. One of the first things that I noticed is how delusional, dysfunctional a lot of Black women can be with the rest of society. Very out of touch. It's like Black people, they live in their own little world and own little box. Okay? And it's like the rest of the world is on a whole different program. That's literally what it was like when I moved in the Black community for the first time, because I hadn't lived around Black people growing up. It was such a huge culture shock to see the way these people would think. And these videos kind of explain it. It's really sad. It's almost like watching a mentally ill person. It's like your brain is just so distorted. It's so far from logic and reality. And it's sad. It's really sad watching that. I'm going to play the next clip. And this video is extreme deflection. And honestly, it makes me have a lot of empathy for people who have to deal with unbrainwashing big people like personal trainers. Okay, I see why some of them be quitting. Shout out to you guys, because what the heck?
Black women are so out of shape. Like, in comparison to black men, they really need to get in the gym. That's what I keep seeing up and down my timeline. And I fear that it's actually time that we bring back people who have credibility, who have gone to school, read the books, done the research surrounding health and nutrition. Because now we just have a ton of people who are extremely loud, and they're just giving their opinion and they're trying to label it as facts. They go on a little walk, they pick up their phone, and now they think they have credibility, so they want to talk to the masses. They eat a salad or they drink some green juice or whatever they do, and now they have some credibility to the point where they can speak to the masses. And I will also say this: being fat does not mean that you don't love yourself, and it does not mean that you don't have self-discipline. I am a woman. I just got a 4.0 last semester as a 3X while working, and I'm a mother. I'm a baby mama, okay? That does not sound like the actions of a person who doesn't love themselves. That does not sound like the actions of a person who does not have self-discipline. But let's flip it. The people who were at the Coldplay concert, both white, they both looked like they were fairly in shape. They were cheating on their spouses. Homeboy even had to step down from his job. So not only have they impacted the business, not only has impacted his pockets, the kids are now impacted, the other spouse is now impacted. That's a lack of self-discipline, because he could have just said no. She could have just said no. That's a lack of self-love. You know what I'm saying? So, and these are fit people who are making these poor decisions. So just because you can see a fat person's flaw, I'm just going to put it in quotes, because I don't think being fat is a flaw. I think I'm beautiful, and I'm always think that. But just because you see something that you deem as a flaw does not mean that, for one, it's a flaw, and does not mean that you're better than them or you're above them. You drink yourself to sleep. You dope yourself to sleep. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't gonna get too deep.
Like, the amount of deflection. What do you mean? What do you mean? So she's saying just because you go on a walk and eat a salad, it doesn't mean that you have the qualifications to talk about what people need to do to stay in shape. So I'm assuming she's basically mocking the people that have lost weight.
I fear that it's actually time that we bring back people who have credibility, who have gone to school.
So she is saying that the people who got on this internet, who are in shape, who put in the work, who have lost significant amount of weight, are not credible. That you need to go to school and read the books to be credible. And I just think that that's some bullshit, and that's just a cop-out. Baby, to gain 1 pound of fat, you have to eat like over 3,000 calories. And I'm not reading the book, by the way. I'm just going off of information that I've retained when I did read stuff. To gain a pound of fat, you have to eat a fucking lot of food. So take accountability, baby. You a 3X because you eating a lot of food.
Losing weight actually makes you the number one qualifier to tell somebody else how to lose weight. Well, actually, I'll add losing weight and keeping it off. There's actually a lot of doctors. Remember what I said about college now? Some of that stuff that they be teaching in school is a little bit stupid. Okay, it's a little sprinkle of stupid up in there. And there is a lot of overweight doctors because they're not really trained that well on weight loss. You know what I mean? Or a lot of the times with college, they have to tell you what sounds good, what's politically correct, it's very like left leaning. Left leaning is political correctness. It's not really the truth, the raw deal. So there's a lot of professional people that are big. That's why you see big doctors. No, the only criteria to telling somebody else how to lose weight is if you lost weight and kept it off and, you're not battling with anything weird, any type of like, weird eating patterns and stuff like that. Yes. So she's basically trying to say that that doesn't qualify you.
And I'll just be the one to say it. This lady is only saying that because she's trying to escape accountability when it comes to her weight. So it's like if somebody is giving her solutions, it's like, nope, I don't want it. You're not qualified. But understand that people like that, they'll never stop. So even if this magical doctor comes down and tells them the same thing, it'll be something else. It'll be another issue. You know what I mean? It's a victim complex with a lot of big people. It's always going to be an issue in every single solution, and that's why they're big.
God, you guys are extremely rebellious, and this is why I can never become a personal trainer. Personal trainers say all the time that they have to deal with excuses like this. This is why I said just save all of your excuses and put the fork down. And I can't take these videos seriously because it's like, it's so obvious that you're coping. You're huge. You're literally shaped like a fridge, like a couch. That's sad. You're shaped like a chair, a sofa. I'm not even trying to roast this girl. I'm just looking at the shoulders. It's humongous. And this is why you're huge, because just like what the victim mentality chart said, you try to dodge accountability and solutions. That's why your life and your weight is dysfunctional and out of control. You have no control over your life. But let's hear what else she has to say.
And I will also say this. Being fat does not mean that you don't love yourself, and it does not mean that you don't have self-discipline. I am a woman. I just got a 4.0 last semester as a 3X while working, and I'm a mother. I'm a baby mama, okay? That does not sound like the actions of a person who doesn't love themselves. That does not sound like the actions of a person who does not have self-discipline.
So what she's doing right now is actually very common and typical behavior with big people, because the way you look is very obvious as to how dysfunctional you are. They always have to like feel the need to overcompensate over kind of like a man on a date where it's like, I make this much amount of money. So she's over here trying to make up for the fact that she looks visually big, which means when you're big, people think that you're greedy, you have no self-control, you have no discipline. So bigger people, what they tend to do is, no, I do have self-control because look, my house is clean. Like one lady on TikTok, she showed, I guess somebody said if you're big, that means you're also nasty around the house because you treat your body nasty, right? That's what people think about you. So she literally had to prove herself and show her house. You know what I mean? Like that's such an exhausting life to live. Why don't you like constantly needing to prove yourself because you're wearing your addictions? So this lady in the video right here, she lists off, the fact that, I don't know, she has degrees or a 4.0 GPA and she's a top-notch mom. And if you were to just eat less and be in shape, you would not need to even do all of this justifying, yapping, you know what I mean? Overcompensating. People who do that are insecure. When you have to always flex, you're insecure, because if you were confident, it would just be like a silent type of thing. You know what I mean? The fact that you have to randomly name drop all of your accomplishments to make up for the fact that you're big shows that you're insecure about being big. So why even live your life with having to do these exhausting mental backflips and gymnastics? And the life of a bigger woman, they always have to overcompensate in all categories, even when it comes to dating, right? When they're dating men, they have to compensate more than the average woman for the most part. It's a dirty little secret, and they're going to be in denial about this, but a lot of the times they have to do way extra with men than what a normal girl would have to do. So it's a dirty, dark secret that a lot of bigger women behind closed doors be tricking off on men because they have to overcompensate. Because let's be real here, a man is not or authentically attracted to a nasty, sloppy, big body. and you still need love. So you know what I mean? Like they spend their whole entire life having to overcompensate for the fact that they're big. Okay? So yeah, she brought up all of her accomplishments and said, even though I'm big, look at my accomplishments. See, this doesn't look like a person that doesn't love their self.
I will also say this. Being fat does not mean that you don't love yourself, and it does not mean that you don't have self-discipline. I am a woman. I just got a 4.0 last semester as a 3X. That does not sound like the actions of a person who doesn't love themselves. That does not sound like the actions of a person who does not have self-discipline.
So I would rather just do life the easy way and just visually look like I love myself. So that way I won't have to verbally always announce, hey guys, look at my degrees. I love myself. Like, no, when people look at me when I walk in the room, by the way I take care of myself as a woman, they can tell that I love myself. I don't need to say that I love myself because you can tell by when you look at me. And that's true femininity, okay? It's very masculine to try to flex your accomplishments because you're not winning in the feminine department. You're not winning with your looks. You're not winning with your body. So you're doing what men tend to do. Hey, look, ladies, look at my car. Look at my degrees. Look how much money I make. That's what men do. As a woman, you're supposed to walk in the room and look like you love yourself. So the fact that you have to over explain, you already lost the game. You already lost as a woman and you actually don't love yourself. We're supposed to see that when we look at you. And when we look at you, we see depression, we see trauma, we see addiction. When we look at you, we see an addict. So I'm going to replay the end of this girl's video. So she bigged herself up and said, even though I'm big, I'm still disciplined because I have a 4.0 GPA and blah, blah, blah. And then a common deflection tactic that a lot of obese people like to do is they like to bring skinnier people down on their level and make examples out of them. So I guess she starts talking about the Coldplay concert incident where the man was caught cheating, and she goes, see, look, skinny people are as undisciplined as me as well. This is a coping strategy that a lot of it's very popular with obese people. Basically, they like to try to deflect from the topic being about their weight. It's like almost like they're escaping accountability, and they love using skinny people to do this and to deflect and try to like even the playing field. They like to try to make it seem like skinny people are on the same level of undisciplinedness as them. Like they're constantly doing that. Oh, skinny people live the same life as me. This is a common deflection tactic with obese people. Okay, so let's play the clip.
But let's flip it. The people who were at the Coldplay concert, both white, they both looked like they were fairly in shape. They were cheating on their spouses. Homeboy even had to step down from his job. So not only have they impacted the business, not only has impacted his pockets, the kids are now impacted, the other spouse is now impacted. That's a lack of self-discipline, because he could have just said no. She could have just said no. That's a lack of self-love. You know what I'm saying? So, and these are fit people who are making these poor decisions. So just because you can see a fat person's flaw, I'm just going to put it in quotes because I don't think being fat is a flaw. I think I'm beautiful. And I'm going to always think that. But just because you see something that you deem as a flaw does not mean that, for one, it's a flaw, and does not mean that you're better than them or you're above them.
Once again, as I do these videos, I start to notice that a lot of bigger women have they have go-to excuses that they all use. So how you know a woman is big is that they constantly have to use skinny people and nitpick little flaws in the skinny person's life, right? Like, skinny people have flaws too. So, once again, like I said, don't fall for this tactic. They're just trying to get you to talk about something else other than their weight. So they're trying to avoid responsibility around their weight. But for the sake of the video, let's actually entertain that argument, okay? Everybody walking this earth, we already know they have issues. Nobody's life is perfect, right? But They don't ever want to address that when you're fat, if a skinny person has 5 issues going on in their life, a fat person has 5,000 issues. Worry about your house that's on fire. Stop pointing to skinny people and trying to nitpick. That's what you guys be doing. You be nitpicking the little, see? And this is why I'm not going to bother losing weight, because look at that skinny person. See, they're not disciplined. He cheat on his wife. See, he's skinny, and that shows lack of discipline. If you got to do all that, give it up. Okay, so basically what she was doing was she pointed to the Coldplay concert incident where the man was cheating on his wife and goes, well, see, skinny people can lack discipline too. If you have to do that, you already lost. Because yeah, when people look at skinny people, they don't think that they're undisciplined. But when they look at you, they know for a fact you're undisciplined. You know what I mean? You don't have the same. Bigger women, stop comparing yourself to skinny people. You don't have the same plight. Your lifestyle will never be the same no matter how many times you try to nitpick the flaws in a slim, beautiful woman's life. You will never, ever, 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 ever even remotely live the same as a beautiful woman. So keep coping. That's what they love to do to stay big. It's a cope. It's like, well, is that a flaw? Is that a slip up in the beautiful, skinny woman's life? See, and this is why I stay big, because even if you're skinny, a man will cheat. It's no point in even being skinny because a man will still cheat. And it's like, okay, if a skinny person is getting cheated on 5 times, a fat person is experiencing that 500 more times to the max. So my thing is this: bad things can inevitably happen but you reduce the chances of having a bad dating life, for example, when you're slim. So bigger women, I don't know who needs to hear this. Stop comparing your dating life to skinny women, okay? Stop pointing to skinny women that get cheated on and see, because even if you're skinny, honey, that skinny when you compare the dating lives of a skinny person and a big person, that skinny person has a 1,000% better dating life than you as a fat person. Okay, y'all don't have the same plight. I see the copes that you guys be doing all over websites like Lipstick Alley. That's a famous one. They love highlighting the flaws in skinny women's life and going, even if you're skinny, ladies, you tell yourself, so that way you justify your food addiction. It's like, this is the female loser mindset. So if a skinny woman's life is bad, and if you want to roll with that type of imagination, well, baby, let me burst it and bring you back to reality. A fat person's life is 1,000 times more bad. So whatever that skinny person that you're nitpicking has going on, you have 1,000 things worse going on. The reality is skinny women and bigger women have polar opposite dating experiences. For example, skinny women, they easily get commitment from men. That alone is a difference. Fat women do not easily get commitment from all of these suitors. No, your dating life is way, 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 way harder. Everything is easier when you're skinnier, and that's just the truth.
We are not men. We're not men. And I'm so tired every time the conversation comes up about how we can be better as women, whether that's fitness, our health, looking put together, and keeping up with ourselves and our appearance. Every time those conversations come up, there's always multiple women who are like, well, men don't have to do that. Why are you telling me I should look put together all the time? Men can walk around looking like this and smelling like that, even when it comes to health and fitness. I saw a girl say, me being unfit, me being fat pretty much, is my Uno reverse on the men who was able to have beer bellies and be fat and still had a wife and a family. Like, what? What are you talking? An Uno reverse on men? We're talking about your health. Your health is for you and only affects you, my dear. Like, what? I never said my dear in my life. That's how, like, upsetting this is. Because what? Like, what are we talking about? Even when I talk about always looking put together, keeping up with yourself, do your hair, do your nails, do your lashes, wear something cute, put on some gloss and mascara just because. I always get the, well, guys can walk around and look like crap and da-da-da. Okay, and Good for them. We are not men. I do not live by men's standards in the sense of, oh, they can do this and they can't do that, so that means I can do this and I can't do that. No, we are different, and that is okay. I feel like it's become like taboo to admit that men and women are different, but we're different. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm tired of people bringing up men when we're talking about how to be better as women. You have women saying we should be fit, we should keep up with ourselves, and other women are combating that for the sake of not pleasing a man. Like, I feel like we've taken the decenter men to a level that it should have never gotten to. Because what are you talking about?
Ain't no war on black women's weight. If you want to see a war on somebody's weight, go over to some of these other races and see how strict their men are when it comes to weight. A lot of these other communities, the women know to keep their bodies under control and keep their weight under control because they men don't play. Black men have given grace for a long time when it comes to addressing black women's weight. They just now really coming out and talking about how dissatisfied they are with the weight of the women in the community. It's 2025 and a lot of y'all are still stupid enough to think that a man having sex with you means something, that it means that you're desirable, that it means that you're attractive. And because a lot of y'all are so male-centered, even though you lie and say you not, you hold on to extra weight just to keep that butt that you think that you got, right? A lot of y'all have been past thick, right? Nothing about you is thick. But you got a bunch of low vibrational pookies who be lying and telling you what you want to hear all for the sake of having sex with you. And because you're stupid and you believe that a man wanting to have sex with you means that you're desirable and that he actually wants you, because you still haven't figured out in 2025 that there's no correlation between a man having sex with you and a man actually wanting you. You would think you dum-dums would know that by now, but I done seen several of y'all make videos and y'all sitting there talking about, well, they can't care about my weight too much because I still get ends, I still get dudes still smashing and ain't complaining. No, they not complaining because you still giving it up, stupid. Right? But it don't mean that they don't like your body. It don't mean that they still ain't telling their homeboys how disgusting they think you look with your clothes off. Right? None of that is still not happening just because they sleep with you. The fact of the matter is a lot of y'all can't get to the next step with these men in relationships because they don't like your body. All right, you might be cool, you might be having sex with him, but at the end of the day, he don't picture himself being with nobody who physically look like you. That's why a lot of y'all ain't getting no dates. That's the reason why you only get you up late text messages. Like, they don't want to be seen with you in public. They don't want to be associated with you. They don't want people knowing that they mess with somebody who looks like you. And that's just a harsh reality for a lot of y'all to accept. So you have to lie to yourself and tell yourself that these men actually like you just because they willing to smash you because you're dumb. Because ain't no way in 2025 you still believe that. But y'all definitely still believe that men sleeping with y'all actually means something. And again, the men are at fault for this. A lot of the men have lied to y'all, told y'all that y'all was thick when you've been past thick. Nothing about you is thick. It actually, everything about you is thick, right? Arms, stomach, legs. But I said in another video, a lot of y'all won't get in the gym and lose weight because you so scared of losing that big sloppy butt that you'll keep it just so that you can have it because you feel like that's the best thing that you got to offer. You don't feel like your face really hitting on nothing, and the only time you really get compliments or men really say anything to you is when it's about your body. So God forbid you lose the one thing that's desirable to men when you're so male-centered and the only thing you care about is your desirability when it comes to men. So a lot of y'all will skip out losing weight just so you can keep that big, wide, sloppy mess in the back of you that you call a fat A, right? Just so that you can stay desirable to men who only want to sleep with you and don't see nothing else with you in the future. But at the end of the day, stop it. There's no war on nobody's weight, because if it was, you'd realize that you've had it easy when it came to how black men address black women's weight. And you would see these other communities, they don't have almond moms for nothing. They train their daughters from the time they born to keep that weight under control and to stay skinny. So be for real.